USS Callister was my favorite episode of Black Mirror in the last season. I never expected for us to get a sequel, but when we did, when we heard that the sequel was coming last night with my wife, I rewatched that episode, and it reminded me of how dark a Star Trek movie it is, where Galaxy Quest is a fun, uplifting wannabe of a Star Trek movie and is in many respects one of the best Star Trek movies we've had for a while, especially with what Paramount were putting out recently. Oh gosh, that was a mess. And now we have a much darker universe of a Star Trek parody, but within a virtual space. And so the crew are back. If you remember what happened within the end of the first one, Nic Cage and the crew of the USS Callister were stranded in an infinite virtual universe fighting for survival against 30 million players. I didn't expect them to take the story the way they did, but in a sense it kind of makes sense. The game universe has been monetized to shit. And that is such a great reflection. And this is what Black Mirror always does. It takes what's happening in the zeitgeist and then twists it on its head to be a reflection of what could be and might be a possibility of what the future would look like within what is happening in our world. And so in reflection, we have games that monetize the crap out of everything. You want to buy a horse skin or become the next Assassin's Creed is a game I'm playing at the moment, and there are so many monetizable bits in that. Not necessarily enhancing your gameplay, but just ways for you to spend more money. You know, the various versions of games that you have, patches, updates, DLCs, you name it. They want to monetize everything, especially the world of an online multiplayer game. And so they tap into that, where we see a number of gamers come into contact with a crew that have no tags, and every person online should have a tag, should have a name, and they bleed. And so they play with this mechanic of what they're going to do, how they're going to survive, needing credits to move the ship along to stay alive for another moment. And then in the real world, they're having to deal with the consequences of that. So what we end up having is a thriller sci-fi adventure that is one of the best Star Trek films I've seen in a long time. And that's because it dares to go dark again. It ends up in a place that I didn't see coming, although I should have. It plays homage to a few 80s films that I'm not going to mention because the ending will remind you of a couple of films, and I'm hoping we do get a third part. Suffice to say, I think the acting in this was great again. The way they carry the story from part one to this one makes it for a wild ride. It's a 90-minute individual episode, which is basically a feature film, because I think in film speak, if your film is over 80 minutes or might be 89 minutes, then it's classified as a feature. So we have a feature individual episode of Black Mirror showcasing what gaming could be like in the future. And then we have the moral ambiguity of characters being alive or not alive. How alive are they? And then once we find out, we have to decide as the viewer or the gamer have to decide whether they are alive or not. And it plays with those moral ambiguities a bit. I like seeing this kind of their Star Trek version of the ship and their lore portrayed in ways that I think makes it fun in gaming world, as well as kind of Trekkie fans or sci-fi fans. There will be moments in this that'll just really kind of shout to you, oh, I see what they've been doing there. The acting in this, once again, is fantastic. All the cast are back in various forms, in various points in the story. And when it goes dark, it doesn't double down on the dark. It just really hits you with some gut punches and saying, hey, remember, this is Black Mirror. I do think it's lighter on that tone. It's one of the lesser dark series or episodes from this Black Mirror season, but it is one of the ones that I had the most fun with. In this new season of Black Mirror, which has been your favorite episode? Which episode of the USS Callister did you prefer? Did you prefer the first one or the second one? Are you hoping for a third one? That was my kind of quick review, kind of reminding you that Black Mirror is back and this is a sequel. If you haven't seen the first part, I urge you definitely go and watch that. This is a treat. It's basically a movie. So I'm going to give USS Callister, the second part, what's it called? Into Infinity, I think. 4 out of 5 Nicolas Cages. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.